Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, who's got a crush on you and will they make their feelings known? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Garnet. Group 2 is the Clear Quartz. And group 3 is the Amethyst. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. It shows the Garnet. So let's start by taking a look at who's got a crush on you. Okay, so the first three that we have are the King of Swords, Queen of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles. So this definitely could be somebody connected to your work or that is in a similar line of work as you. There could be an age difference. This person could be older than you. It could be somebody that, if they're like a coworker, for example, or even somebody that you interact with or deal with in like the course of going to work, traveling to work, you know, anywhere that you frequent as far as like a cafe that you go to get coffee or lunch or anything like that. And so you may have encountered this person, you know, directly. Either they're kind of working in one of these places or they're a patron of one of these places, and you've made eye contact with this individual. The eye contact may be very intense. There may be something just very intense about this person's eyes in general, regardless of like the eye color. Almost a sense of they are able to kind of look directly into people's souls rather than kind of just surface level eye contact, or somebody that avoids eye contact altogether. It could be somebody with, you caught them staring at you, or it just feels like a very penetrating gaze. It feels to be something where this person is also very soft spoken, like their voice may just have kind of like a soft tenor to it, or they could be somebody that is just very polite, very congenial, somebody that you may, when you've dealt with them, it may have just been kind of casual sort of interactions with them, not a lot of conversation that's taken place. Even if they're a coworker, it could be somebody that you just don't deal with very often, and so there's a lot of politeness coming forth that is not forced on this person's part. It's just like part of their personality, but that might have been sort of the range and extent by which you have connected with them. You've interacted with this person, is just kind of like surface level, hello, please, thank you, you know, excuse me, kind of just minimal sort of conversation and interaction. But it's almost like the eye contact between the two of you could speak volumes. Something that sort of has displayed, it feels like, that there's a lot more about this person than meets the eye, or kind of the type of person that may have really good boundaries established. So again, kind of like a soft-spoken individual, somebody that may be more observant and kind of quiet by nature, but then with that eye contact, there's a sense of almost like, to get to know this individual or people within their inner circle, there's almost like a passionate side of them that maybe due to like a professional, you know, connection, or the context of just sort of seeing them out and about in more of that casual or, you know, kind of a sterile sort of environment, you know, where you're not kind of like close and intimate with this person. It almost feels that there's a lot that they keep, like a reserved sort of a personality. But something about the nature of what's conveyed through their eyes or through that eye contact that speaks to a lot of depth within this person. we also have Florida waters, natural form, enhanced potion, red roses, and cleansing. So this person may smell really good. They could wear like a cologne that you like, perfume that you like, something even about like their natural pheromones. It's kind of like caught your attention in some sort of way. This also brings to mind somebody that you may encounter like in the context of going to the gym or working out, like working up a sweat, and kind of just their natural scent in that capacity is something that has kind of attracted you to them at this point in time. But again, there's like this surface level interaction where you've not yet had like a deep conversation with this person, but it feels that it should be pretty like, this isn't just a secret admirer, like a total stranger. It's somebody that you'd have like that face-to-face sort of recognition with this person. Like they're familiar. You've seen them around in some sort of way. Like if they were to approach and say something, it wouldn't just be like a complete random off the street, making a move towards you. It would be somebody that it's like, okay, we've smiled, we've said hello. I recognize this person as kind of a frequent familiar face in like an environment in which I go to. Something where there might almost be a sense of mutual, it feels like more like curiosity, or you've taken note of this person, something about this person that has just sort of caught your attention. But then because it's a crush situation, it feels like their noticing of you is a lot more deep than you're noticing of them. Again, there was that energy of kind of like you might have caught this person staring at you, or the eye contact is really intense. So whatever it is that is kind of like captured your gaze as far as they are concerned, they've put a lot more thought, they've put a lot more kind of mental energy into the idea of you. And we also have Jinn, wildness, enigma, service, and choices. So something very mysterious about this person, aside from the element of just that it feels like you haven't had a lot of like one-on-one time with them. You haven't really gotten into deep conversation. You may know this person's name, or you've heard their name. If they haven't like introduced themselves to you, you may have heard the name called out on a lunch order, on a coffee order, or it's like a coworker in a bigger sort of office setting where you're familiar with who this person is, but there's not a lot that you know about them personally. But there's a sense that they give off, again, this kind of like air of mystery, and yet there's this intensity, there's this fire inside of this person that may have almost kind of piqued your curiosity. It may be bordering on where you kind of have a mutual crush on this individual as well, or you've recently kind of come about this energy of like really noting their presence and kind of becoming very captivated by that. It feels like they have a very magnetic presence as well, and something again about kind of like the nature of their eye contact or the intensity of their energy in general, which energetically may be very different from sort of like the soft-spoken demeanor with which they present themselves. It's almost like they draw people into them, or it may be the kind of thing where you just sort of feel that somebody's watching you, and you look up and it's this person, like across the crowded room, across the office, across kind of that communal sort of space. And it's more, it feels like, than just kind of evidence of like energy flows where attention goes. It's something about this person's personal magnetism. They may be somebody also that is spoken well of, they're well liked, they're popular. They've got a lot of people that have positive things to say about them, even though there's kind of like an air of mystery. They may be somebody who's relatively new to the environment, so new within the workspace. They could be somebody that's just recently kind of relocated to wherever it is you live, and so they're in the process of kind of like establishing themselves, starting to make friends, starting to kind of develop rapport with others. But it feels like overall what you've heard or how you've heard people speak to them, or even just kind of noticed people greeting them or receiving them, it's with a lot of positivity. They put forth a very good first impression, and it feels like there's a genuine aspect of like kindness to this person. Like they're not just putting up a front in order to get people to kind of receive them well. There's something about this person that's very warm, that's very inviting, they give off a very like safe energy. And we also have sylphs, peace, agent of change, impact, and importance. So again, there's that energy of somebody that may be kind of like relatively new to the environment, new coworkers, somebody that might even kind of like, you see them in your neighborhood if you go out walking, if you go out jogging, maybe in a park, or some kind of like community setting. You may have recently started to notice this person. So they could be kind of like a new addition to that community, a new addition to that environment. Somebody that it feels like they exhibit a lot of kind of personal magnetism, but also comfort within their own sort of presence. Something about kind of somebody very comfortable within their own skin. Like, this isn't the energy of somebody who's shy. It's just somebody who's kind of reserved, somebody who's more of like an observer, rather than kind of trying to fill empty space with a lot of words or noise. This is almost somebody who could be a really good listener. They're very kind of receptive to situations. If you've kind of taken the time to observe this person, you may notice that they almost come into the room and they sort of like scan the room. They may present as very like energetically sensitive, or somebody that almost kind of adjusts their energy, not to try and create friction or rock the boat within situations, but almost somebody that's able to kind of downshift or increase sort of the tempo of their interactions with people. They're able to kind of blend in very well with the environment or with people that they are interacting with, which it feels like puts people at ease. This is somebody who's able to kind of meet other people at their level and interact in a very sort of genuine way. They may be somebody that, professionally speaking, they could work almost like in an HR department, something as far as like customer service. Like, you've seen them interact even with other people. Even they themselves as a customer may be dealing with employees. If this is somebody that you've encountered like in a coffee shop or a restaurant, something like that, where they speak to people on kind of an equal level. This is not somebody that talks down to other individuals, but it feels like you may have sort of witnessed this person up to this point in time kind of interacting with a variety of people, even sort of like rude or dismissive people. It feels like this person is somebody who doesn't easily lose their cool. They're able to exhibit like a high degree of patience in some sort of way, which might have also been something noteworthy. If this is somebody that's like a coworker, they might have actually stepped in and helped you to kind of dispel a tense situation. Or there's somebody that maybe you've had to refer things to in terms of they may be sort of like management or in some kind of like a higher position than you are professionally speaking, but it feels like they may have already sort of exhibited that they've got your back, they have your best interests in mind, or somebody that's very unbiased in how they kind of deal with things. So let's take a look and see if this person is going to make their feelings known, if they're going to approach you, ask you out, make a move towards you. Okay, we have Storm, Falling, and the Illusionist. So with this energy of the Illusionist, you may notice that this person comes up with excuses to talk to you, or excuses to like stand by you or be near you. This can be something that, like, if they go to the same gym or some other, like a coffee shop, like a restaurant, something that's sort of a neutral playing field, like a community setting, and there's a table that they particularly sit at, or there's a machine that they're always kind of working out on, you may start to notice that they sort of change around their routine and pattern to get closer to you, to start to kind of almost come up with an excuse or reason to directly engage with you. If this is a coworker, then you may notice that they start to arrive at work at kind of a different hour, maybe closer to your schedule, something that causes them to kind of like walk by your desk, or again, sort of things that they may come up with that are excuses to sort of reach out, say something, strike up conversation. So it feels like this is somebody who's not just going to sit on the fence about these feelings. This is somebody who's going to very sort of slowly bring themselves closer to you. It feels like in general, this is somebody who doesn't like to impose on other people's boundaries because they've got really good like personal boundaries in and of themselves. And so it feels like something that rather than coming off as very encroaching or imposing, it's something where they're almost just wanting to try and seamlessly kind of blend more in with a closer proximity to you. With this idea of falling, it feels like their feelings are going to continue to develop for you. This crush is going to intensify, and that might be something that almost brings up like a strategist within this person, where again, there's not like an impulsivity. They're not just going to rush forth, tomorrow and ask you out in a very direct way, but it may almost be something where, an opportunity presents itself to speak with you directly, and that it feels like they're very aware of kind of the nature of their eye contact is very intense or penetrating. This is somebody who's very well of like their qualities of personal magnetism. They're very maybe self-aware and aware of the effect that they as a person or that their energies have upon other people. And so it feels to be something that they will use that to their advantage, not to try and like entice you or charm you in any kind of manipulative way, but it feels like they're really going to use sort of their assets and their strengths in that capacity, to kind of just see, is it possible to sort of merge with one another in a very kind of organic fashion. It feels like this is somebody that doesn't seek to kind of align with sort of opposites attract energy. They may have experienced a lot of that in their past and kind of like incompatibility that sort of led to wasting of time or, kind of time invested in people and then hurt feelings on the other side of that. So it feels like at this point in this person's life, they're really looking for like attracts like. So they're very like responsive to their own energy and sort of like, does this feel right? Do my subtle kind of senses within pick up on the cues from whoever it is that I'm interested in, that not just on a surface level there's attraction, but like energetically it feels good. So it feels like a slow approach that that they will take towards you, but something that again is kind of motivated by the increase in these feelings or this attraction towards you. And we also have storm. So, it feels like, again, kind of this slow brewing, this slow building, something where they're almost part of the strategy is kind of hoping that there will be this sort of sexual tension between the two of you, this chemistry, this potential. It almost feels to be something that this person would not object to you making the first move, that might dispel a lot of this pressure. If you're aware of who this person is, and it feels like something that when they start to kind of give that indicator of, they adjust something as far as their routine, their habits, their kind of direct or typical sort of contact with you, and start to kind of create more of that subtle closeness, or, they're more frequently kind of engaging with you, or the nature of your conversations becomes deeper, it feels to be something that's almost kind of like them trying to sort of put the ball in your court, or to send some kind of subtle signal like, hey, I'm interested, I'm making my way towards you. And so anything that you would kind of do to sort of usher in the next phase beyond that point, it feels like would be well received by this person and might actually almost take off that pressure to be so kind of energetically sensitive and sort of aware of like, am I coming on too strong? Am I being too imposing on this person? Is this something which, if it progresses forward to getting to know one another and feelings develop, do we have the ability to be compatible on all levels? So it feels like this is somebody that is in a point in their life where they're not just looking for situationships. They're looking for like long-term potential, looking for long-term relationship, looking for somebody that can fit very nicely into who they are as a person, and also ensuring that they fit very nicely into kind of everything that another person is as well. So let's get some message cards from this person's higher self and see what they want to tell you right now. Okay, and they say, why are you so damn beautiful? Yeah, so this is somebody who is definitely captivated by you, captivated by your physical beauty, captivated by your mind and your intellect. If this is something where they've had the opportunity to kind of witness that firsthand, maybe in like a professional setting, something about your voice, which is very captivating to them, the energy that you give off, the essence of who you are, your aura itself, everything is very delicious and very enticing to this person. They also say, I struggle with revealing my true feelings and emotions, but I love you more than you think. So there's a deeper level of attraction than this person has let on, that again, maybe sort of, you can read between the lines of the nature, it feels like, of the eye contact with this person, or the frequency with which you catch them kind of staring at you and then looking away. It's more than just kind of like mild curiosity. It feels like they do spend a lot of time kind of thinking about you in the times in between those direct sort of physical encounters with one another, and it's sort of building up a storm inside of them, pressing them forward to just sort of close the distance between the two of you, not wanting to be so much on kind of the outskirts, or more of like a casual observer stance, but something where they're sort of looking for an in, they're looking for a way to kind of bridge the gap between the two of you, so there's the opportunity to direct or to interact more directly with one another. And they also say, I've never expected to fall in love with you so quickly. So it feels like this is somebody who may have been very captivated by you from the moment that they saw you. They may have felt some kind of spark of recognition, something where, there were butterflies inside of them, kind of the moment that you first entered the room, or that you first made eye contact with one another. Certainly if you've ever shaken this person's hand, if you were introduced like a coworker, like they're a new coworker, or maybe you were new to the workplace and you're kind of meeting everybody within the office, it feels like something that physical contact between the two of you may have almost sent like an electric jolt through this person, a very kind of palpable reaction that they've taken note of, and that sort of sparked this kind of crush, this sort of curiosity about you. And they also say, I am ascending. Yeah, so there's that confirmation that they are planning on kind of moving in closer, moving into a position where there's a hope of almost kind of like things organically developing between the two of you, excuses to speak more or to interact more, and even kind of, it feels like the door that's sort of open if you were the one to make the move first, to increase the level of conversation, or to, begin to have more direct and personal conversation than you've had up to this point in time. That's something that this person would be very open to. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got C, M, O, T, L, O, V, X, W, Q, M, R, Y, S, D, G, and W. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the clear quartz. So let's start by taking a look at who's got a crush on you. Okay, so the first three that we have are the Ace of Cups, Temperance, and the Page of Cups. So this feels to be the energy of like a sweetheart from the past, somebody that you had interacted with at an earlier point in your life and maybe dated for a period of time. So this could be like an ex, but it doesn't feel to be anybody that there would have been like a nasty breakup between you. It almost feels to be something that would have been like young love, early love, kind of like right person, wrong time sort of energy. Maybe a lot of unactualized potential between you and another person if there had been like third parties involved, or somebody that had a crush on you once upon a time but didn't make a move forward, just kind of like kept their feelings hidden. Both of you maybe kind of mutually attracted to one another and nobody spoke on that, and then life sort of took you in different directions as far as your journey moving forward. And it feels like this person's always kind of like wondered whatever happened to you. They may have been keeping tabs on you kind of the whole time, or just lost track of you, and could have recently sort of looked you up, or an algorithm recommended them to you, or recommended maybe you to them as well. So you may have recently reconnected with one another on social media, or they could be in kind of the brink of reaching out to you. They could have Googled you. They could have kind of sought you out in some sort of way. They're like doing research behind the scenes, kind of planning their move forward, maybe scouting out the situation to see, are you single? Are you available? Any third parties that might have been involved in the situation in the past on your side of the equation? Are these people still a factor, or are you single? Are you available? And we also have mirror magic, lunar light, past lives, spectrum, self-care. Yeah, so this is the energy of somebody from your past. It might have been somebody that you went out on a couple dates with even, or somebody that could have been dating somebody that like you knew, or was in a relationship with somebody that you knew, and it was kind of like inaccessible towards one another, and yet you could have had a lot in common with each other. A very good kind of like dialogue or exchange with one another. It could have even been somebody within a friend circle, or just that you were friendly with, but it almost feels to be the energy of someone where people may have often asked the two of you, like, are you two together? Are you two a couple? May have just assumed that about the two of you. Something about kind of your energies, or the way that you would light up when you were interacting with one another or near one another. That might have been something that was very obvious to observers, to casual onlookers. And so there could have on several occasions been something where one or both of you needed to sort of say, no, we're not together, or we're just friends, or no, this is somebody else's boyfriend, somebody else's girlfriend, somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife. But a sense of a lot of kind of like deep and palpable sort of connectedness between the two of you. Something where there was almost maybe the sense of kind of like under different circumstances, we would progress forward with one another. Like, why didn't I meet this person sooner? A sense of feeling very kind of like comfortable around this person. So you could have had a lot of just like shared goals, shared interests, something where it might have even been that you were sort of fast friends, or you were very comfortable to sort of be yourself around this person. If you had gone out on dates, or, tried to kind of establish something long-term or serious with one another, and again, maybe life took you in different directions. Maybe, you both kind of went off to school, but you went to different schools on different parts of the country, or, in different countries altogether. You might have met this person while traveling, or just in kind of a transitional period of your life or in their life. There's almost the sense that, it led to a lot of kind of disappointment. Under different circumstances, this would have been an ideal kind of situation. This would have been the kind of person that I would see myself very aligned with. The two of you, or this person even might have been like, I'm too young, I need to keep my options open. So there could have been like some disappointment, but it doesn't feel to be anything that would have been heart-wrenching. It would have taken years to get over this person. There would have been any sort of bitterness. It feels, if anything, there was almost like disappointment. It's too bad that we couldn't make this work. It's too bad that we couldn't connect. It's too bad that these other sort of factors were an interference, or kind of limitations between the two of us being able to kind of explore things with one another. We also have Ocean's Muse, Water's Wisdom, Intuition, Hermit's Light, and Discovery. So it's possible that this could have been a situation of almost like friendship, or a friendly kind of relationship that nobody spoke on their feelings. There could have been a lot of encouragement, even from different people in both of your lives, like the two of you should date. Why don't you just say something? Why don't you make the first move? And it's almost like a fear of sort of overstepping boundaries or jeopardizing a friendship, or maybe even something with the two of you just kind of got like stage fright as far as the other person was concerned. A lot of sort of like tension or chemistry between the two of you, but a sense of like, I don't want to say something and it comes out of left field, and then I'm mocked, or I'm made to feel very rejected, or I overstep somebody's personal boundaries. This could be somebody that is a highly sensitive person, so maybe like psychically sensitive, intuitive, or even just a very kind of like sensitive and emotional person. Somebody that feels like that has a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy for people. They may have been somebody that was drawn towards helping other people, certain kind of like causes or movements that could have really captivated this person. They could have had very specific opinions about sort of a desire to kind of make the world a better place, or somebody who may have also been really invested in kind of like self-improvement. They may have been someone that kind of went off on like a pilgrimage. They said they needed to find themselves. They may have kind of traveled and for a period of time or various periods in time, trying to kind of discover like, who am I? What is my purpose? What is my higher calling? Somebody that might have been in the process of kind of trying to find a way, when you were last dealing with them, to kind of like actualize some sort of a desire to help, some sort of a desire to heal, maybe other people, the world, animals, the environment, something that just kind of like push this person to kind of a purpose-driven life, that when you last were dealing with them, it could have been the sense of like, well, what do I do with this? How do I kind of turn this into a career? How do I turn this into a business? How do I reshape my life to live more consciously? So that could have taken them in the direction of like going off to school, taking an opportunity, a job opportunity, an internship. Again, the idea of like traveling in order to kind of discover that, or bring that about in some sort of way. And so fast forward to kind of the current times, and it feels like this would be somebody that if you've already kind of recently, it feels like social media may be a way in which they kind of like reach out to you. It doesn't feel to be anyone that you would be like directly physically in contact with, although they may have kind of like moved back to like a hometown or a city that you're in. They may have like returned to sort of relatively speaking like a near region to where you are, but it feels most likely that this is somebody that has like actively sought you out. They are done with kind of this curiosity as far as like, I wonder whatever happened to that person. I wonder if, because it didn't work before, if now is the time when maybe our love story can continue or get started for the first time, if it never actually kind of got off the ground. It was like a failure to launch previously, but it feels like if this is somebody that's already kind of reached out on social media, or you're following one another on social media, they may not have even said anything yet. You could just be like on one another's pages. There's a sense that they followed through on that purpose, or they brought it about in some kind of an interesting way. They kept their promise of like, I want to become better, I want to do better, I want to help other people to kind of find themselves or become better within themselves. Something that had been just kind of almost like a generic sort of energy with them, kind of like a desire to heal, a desire to, kind of be the light in the darkness, something along those lines. They've brought that about in a manifest way, in a materialized way. They actually became what they were professing they would become, or they're actively underway to kind of like bringing that about. Maybe, a dream that they were kind of reaching towards or for, they've actually kind of made that happen. Or it may even be something that whatever it is that they're doing at this point in time, it's very obvious kind of how that dream or that desire kind of metamorphosized into something more, that they were able to kind of take this sort of urge towards a purpose-driven life, and to be able to cultivate that into something that is also sort of materially satisfying, makes sense on like a mundane, practical level. It's not just kind of chasing a dream. Like, they brought that about in some sort of way. And we also have Witch's Wounds, Remedy, Magical Medicine, Sacred Heart, Another Day. Yeah, so it feels like this is something where there's another opportunity for the two of you to connect. Something that it might have been very disappointing in the past, almost like a lingering sense of regret that was perhaps very mutual for the two of you, almost like, I wish I had said something. I wish I had expressed my feelings. I wish I had been courageous enough to fight beyond whatever the barriers or obstacles were in the past that sort of led to this being something that maybe had like a sweet potential to it, or some tender moments exchanged between the two of you, but then it feels like a huge gap of time where you've lost contact with one another. You've not known what the other person is up to, but you always sort of thought about one another. You've kept each other in a very special space within your hearts. And so it feels like this is somebody that they still have feelings for you. There's a sense that they never kind of got over you, or never sort of got over the idea of, I wonder what my life would have been like if I had taken that chance, if I had followed my heart. It feels like they may have sort of had feelings, had the crush in the past, but logic took them in different directions. Or again, if there were like third parties involved, it might have just sort of seemed moral or ethical for them to kind of not involve themselves in sort of exploring something with you. Or maybe they had a third party on their end of the equation, and it was kind of like they were loyal to that person. They didn't want to step outside of that relationship. But it feels like this is somebody who's definitely single at this particular point in time. There are no third parties in the way, perhaps hopefully on both of your sides of the equation. It feels like this is somebody who's trying to make sure that that's the case kind of before they make that move forward. They've sought you out, or you've been kind of delivered unto them through the algorithm in some way, kind of divine intervention sort of opening the door, presenting the opportunity for another chance in this situation. And it feels like something that this is somebody who the idea of kind of like, if I don't do something, if I don't say something, that's even just more heartbreaking, because they've carried around almost like a lot of regret over not doing something, or not seeking you out sooner, because they've thought about you this whole time, or they've had those feelings for you, this curiosity the whole time. So let's take a look and see if they plan to make a move, plan to profess these feelings, or do anything about this crush. Okay, we have the Deceiver, Falling, and the Visionary. So it feels like maybe based on kind of like the current nature of how they've sort of come across you at this point in time, maybe they're watching from like anonymously on some kind of like fake account, or they've just sort of Googled you, they're just observing at this particular point in time, or there's almost kind of like, if you're following one another on social media, there's yet to be that kind of like, okay, we're messaging one another, we're having that conversation back and forth. There almost feels to be something where they're planning or strategizing how to kind of impress upon you the reality of kind of like everything that they were feeling in the past that they never said. The idea of kind of wanting to express to you that their lack of action, or their lack of follow through, or an unwillingness to fight for the connection in the past, that this was not evidence of not having feelings for you, that this is almost a sense that they feel in some way that they kind of didn't honor the nature of their soul, or the nature of their heart, or the nature of their feelings by like not taking action, or whatever sort of the choice was to kind of not pursue something with you. This is something that hasn't sit well with this person over time. They've constantly kind of been brought back to that. There've been reminders over the years of like, this is a major disappointment. This is a major regret that they've been holding on to. And so it feels like it's more than just saying hi. There's like a bigger conversation that needs to take place between the two of you. Something where they reveal a lot of truths that you might not even be aware of. If it was something where you maybe dated a little bit, you went out on a couple dates and then you both sort of went your separate ways, it feels like something that they started to catch feelings for you. They started to really fall for you. And it may have been something that, looking at kind of the practical nature of their life, were like bigger dreams and goals that they knew they were kind of like wanting to pursue, that it was like a choice was made. Do I continue to kind of allow myself to fall for this person and try to sort of juggle that with whatever other kind of big goals and dreams I'm working towards? Or, do I prioritize kind of this purpose-driven life and sort of put this situation aside because it's intense, because it's happening so quickly, because I've fallen so deeply for this person in such a short amount of time? And so again, it's almost the sense of a big confession that needs to happen, that it feels like they're wanting to not just kind of like clear their conscience or to kind of present you with information, but it's almost the sense of not wanting to be someone that just comes out of the woodwork from your past, but it's almost like making it known too that like they made the wrong decision in the past, that there was a lot more than met the eye in the past, things you might not even have been aware of that were kind of part of their motivations for just drifting away from your life and from your reality, or anything that kind of ended between the two of you, something where they've thought about you, they've been curious, maybe they've kind of kept tabs on you this whole time and are just kind of now at the point, perhaps within themselves, within their life, or based on other sort of circumstances, especially if there were third parties involved, that it's like this might be sort of the right time where other people have been kind of cleared out of the equation. There's been an opportunity for healing, for growth, sort of right person, right time almost feels to be the essence of kind of what they're trying to guarantee as much as possible before making that kind of deep confession. Because it feels like with this idea of the visionary, they are seeing you as somebody that these feelings still exist within them for you. They've maybe intensified or they've fallen for you all over again and on a deeper level after having sort of sought you out or having come across you and seeing the way that you've really blossomed, you've developed, you've come into your own, you've matured. You may be a very different person from who they remember you to be. And this is not a bad thing. It's actually a very positive thing, to where if there were feelings before, if there was a sense of connectivity before, there's a sense of like you're even more in alignment with what they are looking for, what they're needing, what they're desiring in their life. So they're putting a lot of importance on kind of making a good first impression, or reintroducing themselves to you, or whatever it is that they present. It's somebody that doesn't just want to have a fling with you. They don't just want to kind of whet their curiosity as far as like, I wonder what it would be like to have a romantic experience with this person. It definitely feels like something that they want to give whatever can develop between the two of you the greatest potential to sort of develop into something long-term, mutually satisfying, no limits placed upon the situation, because it feels like circumstances and they themselves placed a lot of limits on the situation in the past. So it's like this time around they're wanting to kind of leave nothing to chance, as far as sort of giving this circumstance the greatest opportunity to kind of grow. And so it feels like for the time being they'll continue to kind of just almost sort of figure out what it is that they're going to say beyond that sort of like, hey, how's it going? Long time no see, or, let's catch up. So much has happened that it goes, they want to go deeper than just kind of the surface level details of what you've both been doing with your lives. So it's a sense of almost preparing themselves to make a deep confession about feelings that have been held inside for quite some time, that they're wanting to express sort of fully in order for you to kind of have the most well-rounded perspective as far as like who they are, who they've become, what they were sort of holding inside that they've never expressed previously, so that you know, like, is this a situation that you're wanting to invest in? Is this the type of person that sort of knowing what they're getting ready to kind of tell you now, that you could see yourself investing in more of a long-term sense? So let's get some message cards and see what they want you to know from their higher self. Okay, and they say, you fill me up with happiness. So it feels like it was a lot of joy when they were able to kind of find you again, when they sought you out, or again, like the algorithm just sort of presented your profile, presented something that you've put on social media to them, and that may have really sparked this kind of curiosity, like, there you are, I've been thinking about you, I've been searching for you, I've been always curious, and so now it feels like they're very much honed in on you. It feels like you had really good times with this person. A lot of the memories that you share with one another are very positive, very sweet experiences. So they may be sitting in the energy of nostalgia at this point. You may have started to think about this person recently, kind of like, blast from the past kind of energy. And you've wondered why, and it feels like it's because, like, you're heavily on their mind too at this point, especially if it's like you've recently connected with one another again on social media, but there just hasn't been that sort of direct experience of like a conversation back and forth. It's more than just kind of like, okay, there's their profile. This person is actively, like, consciously sort of thinking about you in terms of past experiences, and also a desire to create something more with you. They also say, I want to make you mine. Yeah, so this is somebody that, even though they're still in this kind of planning stage, thinking of what they're going to say in terms of, those deep feelings that might not have been expressed before, or, that they maybe weren't emotionally mature enough to be able to kind of, give you what you were looking for, or to, value the potential between the two of you when it existed in the past. It feels like something that they're very determined to kind of change history, rewrite your story. They're not wanting this to just sort of go on for the rest of their life as like a regret or a missed opportunity. So it feels like they're working behind the scenes to kind of present or create something that will really give this situation the opportunity to kind of have a fair chance to grow and develop in ways that it couldn't or didn't before. They also say, the thought of you makes me smile inside. So again, a very like joyous, positive energy. This is not the type of person that broke your heart into a million pieces and it's taken so much to recover from the situation. This is somebody that it almost feels like it was disappointing. It was unfortunate that something couldn't have happened. Like really the situation of like right person, wrong time kind of energy. And so it feels like the idea of reconnecting with you and, maybe circumstances being ideal in both of your lives, where you've grown, you've matured, you loved and lost and kind of picked yourselves back up and out of different situations. It's almost like this person feels that the time is right, like it couldn't have happened before, because maybe this is the season for whatever it is that will develop between the two of you. They also say, you're all I ever hoped for. You are my dream person. So if they were just attracted to you in the past, or, found you to be interesting, or, had these kind of like secret feelings, this crush in the past, it feels like this person has been shaped by life in such a way. Their priorities may have changed. What they've been looking for in a partner may have changed or evolved as well, to where you're the full package. You bring everything to the table that they have been seeking. When they think back in terms of like previous people they were in relationships with, or even unactualized potential, it feels like you are somebody that always has stuck out to them as like, that would have been a very good place for me to invest. That would have been somebody that I think I could have had a healthy relationship with. I think that you could have shown me a different face of love than what I've known up to this point in time. So again, there's a lot of motivation on this person's part to not just let more time go by, or to never sort of knock on that door again, and sort of see what could happen between the two of you. So even though they may be taking a little more time to kind of express themselves, they feel very determined to kind of advance this situation forward beyond just a crush and just kind of admiring you from afar, into sort of more direct interactions with one another. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name for you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got F, Y, T, I, R, S, A, G, N, O, P, S, I, X, and A. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the amethyst. So let's start by taking a look at who's got a crush on you. Okay, so the first three that we have are the Moon, the Four of Cups, and the Devil. So this can definitely be the energy of somebody that is currently in a relationship that with another person that may be in the process of falling apart, and that it is very frustrating for them that there's like a third party in this situation, because you've captured their attention, and it feels like something that it's either a very rocky home life that they have going on at this point. So two people that could be on the brink of breaking up, on the brink of separating, brink of divorce, or it's somebody who's going through a breakup, separation, or divorce currently. And there's a sense of almost like the turbulence going on in their life presently with like a third party, is something that's almost like a vibe that they don't want to present into a new situation. There may also like the potential of developing something with you. So it feels like you've caught their attention, you've captured this person's heart in a sense, but there's almost kind of an element of, I don't know if I'm emotionally available to kind of pursue anything with you, especially if they're still like living with somebody, or even if they're just kind of like going through a breakup, going through a divorce, going through a separation. There's almost a sense of kind of like the technical aspects of what's happening currently prohibit them from sort of like pursuing anything new, or there's a sense of like if they were to embark on a romantic connection, that it would somehow complicate matters with sort of closing out their affairs with another person. This could also be somebody that is just kind of freshly divorced, freshly out of a breakup, something where it's almost like you've come into their reality in some sort of way, and there's a struggle within themselves, like, am I ready to date again? Am I ready to meet someone new? Even someone that might not be freshly out of a breakup or divorce, but they could have just kind of closed themselves off. They may have been really like hurt by love, very jaded by love in the past, and they've kind of just maybe pursued more surface level connections, just sexual connections, hookups or flings. And there's a sense of almost like not just attracted to you in like a crush sense, like, oh, I find you sexually attractive, but there's almost like a deeper kind of current of feelings that this person is starting to have that is really colliding, it feels like, with some sort of vow that they made to themselves, like, I'm not going to let anyone in again. I'm not going to let anyone get that close to me emotionally to be able to, you know, put me through the ringer or hurt me in the same way that an ex had. So it almost might be something where they kind of see or recognize you as some sort of like motivation or opportunity to bring themselves up beyond an energy of pessimism, but you feel very like off limits to them in some sort of way. Something about kind of their wounds are gatekeeping them from pursuing anything. They may be somebody who's kind of just shut down emotionally speaking. And yet there's this energy of enticement as far as you are concerned. Something with that this can definitely relate to with whatever like a future potential is in the situation with this person who's attracted to you, who it feels like almost they fight themselves from like looking at you. There's a sense of almost like, not necessarily obsession, but it's almost, it's a struggle for them to kind of like will themselves to not sort of watch. So this can definitely be secret admirer kind of energy. Somebody that you're not aware of that is attracted to you or has feelings for you. You know, it could be somebody that sort of like has seen you on social media, somebody that you know like in your community, could be like friend of a friend, might be like a coworker sort of energy, or somebody that's almost in a relationship with another person that may be in the process of kind of like falling apart. And so you wouldn't like consider this person as sort of like a viable choice because it's like, oh, they're with somebody else, or they're with someone else, or they're with so-and-so. But there's a sense of almost kind of like, if I were not in this situation, if it were a different point in time, I'd pursue you. You're the kind of person that feels more of an alignment with like who I am, or what it is that I'm looking for in my life. And it's almost somebody who kind of like wills themselves not to pay attention to you. So if it is somebody that you interact with very kind of like directly, you know, you see them face to face, they may act very nonchalant. They may avoid eye contact altogether, or it's the kind of thing like you come in the room, they leave the room. They try to ignore you, but it may feel very like forced or awkward in a way. You might have almost sort of, you may think with this person, it may be very surprising that this person has a crush on you, because there may almost be a sense of like, I didn't think this person liked me. I didn't think this person could stand me. You know, this person gives totally the opposite indicators of any sort of interest. So this may be very much like a mystery kind of crush situation. It would be very startling for you to kind of discover that this person was attracted to you in any sort of way, because the indicators that they've given is the complete opposite of that. But it feels like it's something. And that only kind of applies like if this is somebody in direct proximity to you. If they're just somebody sort of watching or admiring from afar, then it feels like they've done a very good job of kind of just lurking in the shadows. You wouldn't be aware of this person at this point because they're very like conflicted within themselves. Either like, is it too soon for me to get back out there? Do I need to wrap things up completely with another situation? Like if they're separated or they're going through a divorce, it may really be kind of a dilemma for them at this particular point in time. Like, is it too soon to start something new? I don't want to bring in the chaos of what's falling apart. It might be like a messy breakup, a messy divorce, or just something that's taking an emotional toll on them to where it's almost like they might not feel in the right headspace or in the right emotional space yet, or uncertain kind of like, would that be a red flag for you if I were to approach, if I were to say something? So it almost feels like they're most comfortable kind of just sitting in the secret admirer energy, or they're in a relationship which is like actively falling apart. And there's a sense of almost kind of looking to you like, when I'm free, when this situation has run its course, when I'm out of this circumstance, which it feels like was already kind of on the rocks or falling apart before you came into their awareness, there's a sense of almost kind of like wanting to emerge from the shadows, but feeling very like trapped or confined, like unable to do anything currently. We also have drawing down the sun, wildfire, divine masculine, magnificence, and witness. Yeah, so this is somebody that it feels like is normally a very kind of optimistic individual, but their experiences in love or what they're going through right now, kind of like a life that they've built with another person, something that they've been invested in, emotionally speaking, there's a lot of volatility. It's kind of like their whole world is falling down at this particular point in time. And so it's somebody that it feels like they ordinarily have a lot to offer, as far as being a very supportive and uplifting partner. They may have gone through some betrayal in like their current situation, or a recent breakup, or something that's in the process of being dismantled, where they could be in kind of like a very dark energy at this point. They're not feeling their best. It may have like taken a toll on kind of their mental health, their emotional health. There could be a lot of anger that they are feeling, about kind of building a life with somebody. Maybe they were betrayed and kind of like feeling years of their life were sort of invested in the wrong person or wasted in some sort of way, to where it's almost like you, like the energy of you or the experience of you, or kind of seeing you, it sort of brightens their day. You may be like the highlight of what could be a lot of chaos going on in their world and in their reality at this particular point in time. You're almost a reprieve from that, but then it brings forth again like a lot of frustration, as far as like, if my life weren't in shambles, if I weren't in this current situation, I would make a move towards you in a second. I would gravitate towards you, no questions asked. It may be something where they're almost kind of embarrassed about the chaos that's going on, or if this is something where it's not even like a fresh breakup, there could be a lot of self-conscious energy, like almost feeling that to bring forth that essence of like, I'm still hurt by a past situation, or the way in which a past breakup affected them negatively, kind of made them shut down their heart, change their personality in a lot of ways. There's almost a sense of like, this isn't the real me, but there's something kind of within you, within what they sense about you, or if you have any kind of interactions with this person, if it's like part of a mutual friend circle, or maybe a coworker, there's almost a sense of they feel the old them kind of coming back online. Even when they just sort of look at you from afar, there's a sense of almost like a glimmer of hope that things aren't so bad, or that things could turn around if they could just get themselves out of this funk and kind of make that move towards you, or see through to completion whatever is in the process of kind of falling apart currently. There's almost a sense of like, you help to kind of re-spark some recognition of like the person that they once were. And so it's a lot of frustration that it's almost like wreckage that they have to sort of wade through in order to get to that place of kind of clarity where there's something to offer. We also have Jinn, wildness, enigma, service, and choices. Yeah, so this is definitely somebody that has not given you any direct indicators that they have a crush, that they have feelings. Again, might have done kind of the complete opposite, sort of pushed you away, or have done things to kind of almost kind of keep you at arm's length in a way, because you represent some kind of forbidden fruit, some kind of guilty pleasure, something that it feels like you're almost sort of a carrot on a string for this person that sort of motivates them to pick themselves up, remember who they are, kind of get back to the basics and the essence of hope that there's possibility to experience something different in love and partnership than what they've known up to this point in time, or what it is that they are kind of in the midst of closing out presently, or what is kind of falling apart for them. There's a sense of kind of almost a lot that this person sort of keeps within. They may be in hermit mode at this particular point in time, not really interacting with a lot of people. They may be somebody that is kind of feeling very volatile at this particular point, and is just sort of keeping to themselves, because there's a lot of sort of disappointment about life choices up to this point, and kind of what it's yielded, sort of investing in things only to have those things fall apart, or if it's wounds from past relationships that have still not resolved within. It's almost a sense of a lot of frustration within this person that they're still harboring those wounds, that they haven't been able to almost sufficiently get over something that fell apart in their past, a breakup, a divorce, maybe a series of divorces. So this could be somebody that if you know them socially or casually, this could be somebody that's just sort of like, they don't believe in love, they don't want relationships, they're just looking for surface level, they're just looking for sexual relationships, they're just looking for something casual, they're not looking for anything deep and meaningful. They could profess very sort of like pessimistic views or very toxic views as far as relationships and love are concerned. And so it might kind of give you the idea of sort of like, if that's this person's true mindset or belief system, it doesn't align with what I want and what I'm looking for. But it feels like that's all just kind of a mask. That's pain that they sort of wear on the outside. And there's an essence of something deeper within, like a core of who they truly are inside, which is what is very responsive to you. That is almost somebody who's kind of like, the real them is being kind of pulled from the inside, from where it's been kind of embedded within, to more of that dominant personality. They're well aware of like some level of toxicity that has happened as a result of relationships they've been in, a relationship they're currently in, ways in which they didn't process their feelings properly from their current experiences or previous experiences. But this is almost something to where, if you know this person socially, as much as they may try to like avoid you or give you like the opposite impression that there's any kind of interest on their part, you might have almost experienced moments or glimmers of displays of like aspects of them that is different from what they present. Almost like you've seen beyond the mask, you've seen beyond that ego or that hurt in some kind of way. So this could even be something that, if you know who this person is directly, that it's almost like they could have given mixed signals, like they've been hot and cold almost. Like you could have questioned yourself at one point in time, like, do they feel something? Is there an attraction here? Is this all just in my mind? Something where there might have been like potential and then they pushed you away very quickly. That feels like it would really only apply to somebody who maybe was in the aftermath of a breakup that they'd never like gotten over, or like post divorce, it changed or embittered them in some sort of way. And so it might have been something where there could have almost been sort of like, is there a spark? Is there a potential here? And just as much as there was that intensity, then they kind of went cold, or they pushed you away, kind of got very defensive and sort of put their guard up to where, you might have just sort of resolved within yourself, I guess they don't like me, I guess they don't have interest. But there's instead, contrary to that, there's like a deep crush sort of situation going on. We also have closing circle, pure intent, sacred doors, timing, and experience. Yeah, so this is somebody who's in the midst of like wrapping up a cycle, going through a breakup, going through a divorce. They're in a relationship that's falling apart, or somebody that in the aftermath of like a breakup or a divorce, something that happened recently, and they're kind of just like wrestling with themselves. Am I ready to take a chance on love again? Am I ready to put myself back out there again? Or maybe they, again, kind of made a promise to themselves and they're very vocal about that. Like, I don't believe in love, I don't want love, I'm not looking for love. And you've had a very opposite effect on this person. It's more than just physical attraction. It's kind of like, this is sort of the person that I think my heart could be safe with. This is the type of person that I think I could experience a healthy relationship with. But there might be a lot of fear, kind of fear of the unknown. Fear that you present as something very opposite from other partners that they've had. And so somebody that, again, might be kind of like drawn toward you, but very frustrated that there are limiting factors that are like actively in place, or even sort of like wounds of the past that may have kind of fenced this person in to the essence of they're connecting with people on like a sexual or surface level, but they've yet to kind of experience sort of the deep intimacy and partnership that they've been craving since their heart was last broken. So let's take a look and see if they will act upon their feelings, make a move towards you, make these feelings known. Okay, we have dystopia, the deceiver, and the prisoner. So this feels very much like somebody who is fighting their way out of a situation, something that they could be kind of locked in at this particular point in time, either a divorce that they are going through, a separation that they're going through, a breakup that they are going through. And so any kind of hesitation on this person's part to like emerge from the shadows, this is not an indicator of they'll never take action. It feels like something that they understand that whatever the chaos that's going on in their life right now, either as a breakup is happening, a divorce is happening, a relationship is falling apart, something that if, they're still with another person, it may be such a stressful and like unsustainable situation that they're trapped in it currently, but there's a sense of they're creating an exit strategy, that they're prioritizing whatever could develop between the two of you in the future, or that they are like wanting to explore further down the road, as I need to wrap something up before I commence something with you, because they're not wanting to put you in a third party situation. They're not wanting to like juggle you and another person. They're not wanting to kind of spoil what the two of you could have with one another by bringing in kind of the negativity that they're going through, the chaos that they're going through, the stress and kind of the emotional toll. There's a sense of almost like, I need to see that through to completion. I need to finish up the process. I can't start dating someone. Maybe that would impact negatively, like a division of assets. If there's any kind of like custody battles that would be taking place, or the nature of kind of an ex or soon to be ex that they're dealing with, and their personality that could be kind of negative or toxic. There might be the sense of almost like, I don't want to put you in the middle of that or get you involved in that. I don't want to kind of detriment or damage my own interests in a long-term sense, by pursuing new romance or new love and sort of upsetting this other person that I'm like fighting a legal battle with. So a sense of almost kind of keeping an eye on you from the shadows, remaining this kind of like crush from a distance or secret admirer. But then there's a sense of sort of like at the first opportunity, it feels like this person will take off that mask. They'll free themselves from this energy of kind of just desiring something, crushing on you, and there's an interest in sort of exploring that. If this is something where this is a person who is recently kind of single, or may still be sort of harboring wounds from like past disappointments, it again feels to be something that there's inaction for the time being, but you're definitely a motivating factor. You may be this person's kind of like light in the darkness as they're navigating their way beyond this kind of dissonance inside, almost like enough is enough. I can't keep holding on to this pessimism, this fear of love, a fear of like investing with another person, building something only to watch it all wash away again. It's like they're sick of that attitude. It's served them in a particular way for a period of time, but there's a sense of almost like the draw towards you, the curiosity, the attraction, the compulsion in your direction. It is more intense and more motivating than the incentive to just sort of sit in a very restrained energy within themselves, to remain very walled off to the possibility of what can occur. So it feels like it's almost something that they'll fight their way through this kind of internal darkness in order to be able to sort of break through into more of that kind of optimistic person maybe that they once were, that they almost feel this spark of like, I think I could be that person again. I think my heart might be safe with someone like you, or I'm curious to see what could happen. So it feels like something that the crush will continue from afar, but this is not somebody that intends to just remain at a distance forever, but it's kind of like they're fighting themselves, maybe internal factors or external factors, a combination of things to kind of, there's almost like they need to get in a better mindset, a better energy, a better headspace, a better sort of circumstance or condition in order to allow kind of what could develop between the two of you to have sort of the greatest chance of success. So let's get some message cards from this person's higher self and see what they want to tell you right now. And they say, I need to see you. Yeah, so this is somebody who will continue to watch you from afar, kind of spy on you, watch your social media, or if they have the ability to like directly sort of observe you in any kind of way, they will definitely do so, but in a way that you will not be aware of. So this is the type of person that if you're directly face to face at any point in time in contact with them, it feels like they'll do everything in their power to give you exactly the opposite impression of someone that is attracted, to you. There's a sense of almost not wanting to get your hopes up and let them down, a sense of almost like pressure that's building within them to take some kind of action that's meaningful, but a sense of almost like the conditions aren't quite right within themselves or within their life to be able to bring you something positive, something beautiful. There's a sense of like, I would only hurt you more at this particular point in time if something were to develop, yet I will continue to watch. I will continue to be enticed. I will continue to be tempted. I will continue to be drawn in. You're a forbidden fruit, but they definitely want to take a bite. They want to taste this. They want something more in the situation. Also say, I want to hold you. Yeah, so this is somebody that, again, they may be holding themselves back. They may be restraining themselves at this particular point in time, but it's getting harder and harder to resist. It feels like a level of frustration is building if there are third parties involved in the situation, or it feels like a third party most likely on their end of the equation that is sort of holding them back, something that's wrapping up, or like a breakup that's in the process of happening, or a divorce, a separation, anything that kind of needs to be sort of finalized. It's almost building a level of like, once I'm free, once that's complete, once we sign all the paperwork, once we both go our separate ways, once everything's packed up and divided, and we're both living our own lives, I've moved out or they've moved out, it feels like this person will not hesitate for very long in kind of taking that step forward. There may also kind of be a bit of like uncertainty within them, though, not wanting to just sort of roll from one relationship to another. Although it feels like for some people, if it was like a toxic or like a relationship that's been on the outs for quite some time, those two people might not have been intimate in quite some time. There might have just been like a roommate situation, a coldness to where it's just sort of a technical aspect of wrapping things up, where there's not necessarily like a grieving period or a single period that they're needing to take, because they may have been very isolated or feeling very alone within that relationship for quite some time, to where it's like once they're just physically free from that situation, they fully intend on like living their life, and in a variety of ways that also kind of includes doing something about this crush situation, sort of making a move towards you. We also have, you're all I've ever wanted. So in you, they see the ideal person, the dream person, the type of person that it feels like fits with the best version of themselves. They may have been in a relationship that kind of brought out the worst in them, or they've got like a habit of attracting people that sort of take them down a notch as opposed to build them up. If this is somebody that has been single, they've already kind of completed a toxic relationship, a breakup, a divorce, and there's just been like an embittered sort of attitude that has kept them kind of in surface level relationships. There's a sense of like fighting their way through that kind of jadedness in order to give themselves the chance to love again. And they're seeing you as somebody that you could be that person that sort of disproves all of those negative views that they've sort of taken on from a place of woundedness and hurt about love, and that you are somebody that could help them kind of remedy that, heal that, that they could build something with you that is quite the opposite of everything that they've known and experienced in love and partnerships before. They also say, I crave you. Yeah, so this is somebody that it takes a lot of effort on their part to not watch you, to not think about you, to not fantasize about you. Definitely an energy of the crush is building, the crush is intensifying. Somebody that likely will not just sort of do nothing about this situation, but it's almost like that tension is sort of working to the advantage in this situation, because it feels like when this person is either free to act, or they get themselves to that place of, I'm just going to do something, I'm going to say something, I'm going to present myself, they're not going to hold back. There's going to be a lot that they will present, because it's more than just kind of like, I desire you on a surface level. There's something kind of deeper, almost emotional or spiritual or energetic that they feel towards you, where they're not looking to kind of just satiate some kind of like lust-filled interest. There's the sense of almost like, you seem like the kind of person, or they're drawn to you in such a way that you could really experience fulfillment with one another on all levels. And so it's this craving and this desire to see, is that inclination something that could prove to be a reality. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name if you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got C, U, Q, D, T, Z, G, B, Y, E, R, R, D, and N. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.